Hey guys, it's Bud here with a quick tutorial on how to use light leaks to create a cool text reveal in Adobe Premiere. Now this is a really simple effect that you can actually create right in your timeline without having to link to an After Effects composition or to render out a composition from After Effects to your sequence in Premiere. So first off, let's take a look at it. In the timeline here, I've got the tail end of a production reel for my outdoor and adventure production company, Great Wild & Co. Let's have a look. And here's another example of how we've used this same effect in a trailer for one of our films. So like I said, it's a pretty simple text reveal effect that you can build right in Premiere. It takes a little bit of tinkering, and it may take you a time or two to get used to it and to find a light leak, some light leak footage that works well. But once you get those elements together, it can actually be a pretty simple go-to effect that you can use in your films. So let's hop right in and get started. First, let's create a new sequence by going to File, New, Sequence. 1080p at 24 frames a second. These settings look good. And I'll just name this sequence Text Reveal Effect. And click OK. So on our timeline, we'll be adding 3 separate elements on 3 separate layers that will eventually nest into a single sequence. Okay? So on video layer 1, we'll insert about 5 to 10 seconds of black video. On video layer 2, we'll insert our text layer. This is going to be the text that we actually want to animate. And on video layer 3, we're going to insert our light leak footage. So let's build this all out from the bottom up. First, let's add about 5 to 10 seconds of black video to our first video layer. So with the project panel selected, we'll go to File, New, Black Video. These video settings match my sequence settings, looks good, and click OK. Now let's drag this to the timeline and adjust the duration to about 10 or so seconds. We'll change this later. Next, let's add some text to our second video layer. So select the Type tool, and let's click on our Program Out panel, and let's type the text that we want to animate. That looks good. I'm going to make a few adjustments in the Essential Graphics window. Center it up here. And I'm also going to make sure, let's make sure that our fill color is set to white. Okay, this is important. And just a quick note, if you can't find your Essential Graphics panel, you can actually toggle it on and off via the Window drop-down menu, just at the top here. Next, let's add our light leak footage to our third and final layer. Now I found this light leak footage for free, and so can you. There are a ton of great and free light leaks that you can find out there. And if you don't have one on hand, I recommend starting your search at Shutterstock. They offer a great little package of about 13 4K light leaks from their website. I'll be sure to put the link down below. And you can also check out PremiumBeat's awesome article on where to find free light leaks. I'll also put that link below. So as I said, this one works pretty well for me. It's one of the freebies that came with the Shutterstock download, so I'll just drop it into my timeline onto the third video layer. And I'll trim the clips a little bit. Now as you can see, all we actually see is the light leak itself, and we don't see the text in the layer below. And so to see that text, we're going to have to adjust our blending modes. So with my light leak footage on the timeline selected, I'll navigate to the Effect Controls panel, open my opacity drawer, and select Subtract from the blending mode dropdown. Let's have a look. Not bad. There's still some work to be done though, a little bit of tinkering. So a quick note about choosing your light leak footage, and this is pretty important. Not all light leaks are created equal. You may have to try out a few to achieve your desired effect, but to get this reveal effect that we're going for, your light leak will need to have a certain characteristic or a certain behavior. Okay, so You need to find a light leak that has a large bright light, preferably like a bright white, that floats from one end of the screen to the other, or from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, vice versa. And here's why. I'm going to toggle off the blending mode for a moment, and I want you to watch which areas of our text are illuminated and which areas aren't. So with the subtract blending mode enabled, the brighter areas of our light leak footage correspond to the darker areas of our text, and vice versa. The darker areas of our light leak footage correspond to the lighter or illuminated areas of our text. So to get that text reveal effect from left to right, we're going to have to find a light leak that has that large bright light that floats from screen right to screen left, or vice versa, however you want the reveal effect to look. Now you're going to have to tinker with this a bit to get the full reveal effect. And that looks decent. So the beauty of this effect is that you can build it right on the timeline without having to leave the application or render out any compositions from After Effects. And since Premiere is primarily an editing tool, not necessarily for graphics work, you'll probably already have a project on your timeline that you want to use this effect in. So let's see how we can add this effect to an existing project on our timeline. So now that we've created the effect, we're going to create a nested sequence. So select all of the elements, right-click, scroll down to Nest. And let's name this after the text in our text layer. That way we can keep track of the sequence of the project panel. So let's drag some footage to the timeline here. We'll place our nested effect sequence on the layer just above the footage, and we'll set the blending mode to overlay. That's important. Now this next step is also important, and I'll explain why in just a bit. With the nested effect sequence selected, navigate to your effects panel and search for the effect Remove Matte, and double click it to add it to your nested effect sequence. With the Remove Matte effect toggled off, you'll actually see that just around the edges of my text there's almost a stroke around my letters that are dark. With the Remove Matte effect enabled, those go away. So we've got our nested effect sequence on the timeline here, and we've set the blending mode to overlay. I'm going to add another black video clip here to the layer just above my footage. I'll also set the blending mode to overlay. This has nothing to do with the actual effect. I'm just doing this to give my footage a little bit of contrast and make the colors pop a little bit more. So with this text effect, I want our text reveal to appear just as the sun is setting in our time-lapse footage. So I'm just going to shift the nested sequence up a little bit. Finally, let's add some movement to our title sequence. So let's double click on our nested effects sequence, and with the text layer selected, let's navigate to the effect controls panel, and let's toggle the animation on next to the scale effect. And we'll just give it a little bit of a push towards camera. Let's have a look. Not bad. It could use a little bit more tinkering, but for the sake of example, this is the general process. Now, like I said, it takes a little bit of tweaking and tinkering, but when you find the right light leak and you adjust the timing, the final product can be kind of cool. And it's all done from within Premiere. Okay, now I'm including a step-by-step written guide of this process as well in the corresponding article that's posted on PremiumBeat.com. And that's that. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.